Hello there, and welcome to Cheesy Math, Episode 1. This is for you younger mathy people out there. So let's see how this works. Cheesy, yep, cheese. We're going to do some division today on the whichermath channel. Let's start off with a little problem. What is half of 5? There's the number 5 there. Okay. What is half of 5? Well, first of all, what is half of anything? What does half mean? H-A-L-F. Half. Well, half means if I have something, I'm going to put it into 2 equal pieces. I'm going to cut it into 2 equal pieces. And then each one of those pieces is called half of that thing, whatever it is. Maybe it's a pizza, maybe it's a piece of bread, maybe it's something that's not food. Okay? Now when it's a number, like say a number 4, then half is going to be 2 equal numbers to make the big number. 2 equal numbers that make 4 in this case, right? So sometimes that's harder to figure out. It's easy when we have something like a piece of cheese where I can take my, don't do this at home, kids. This is a pizza cutter. If I take my pizza cutter, I can actually take half of this piece of cheese, right? That's half, and that is half. Look, I'll even write on it. Okay, maybe I won't. Don't write on cheese. I'm setting lots of bad examples for you kids out there. Okay, but each piece is half. But when I have a number, that's a little harder. And that's where our lesson comes in today. What is half of 5? Well, I don't know. I know that 2 and 2 is 4. And I know that 3 and 3 is 6. But what about 5? Right? 3 is half of 6 because there's 2 equal numbers. 2 is half of 4. I'm sad. Well, let's use our cheese as a way to figure this out, okay? So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 pieces of cheese. Okay? So if I can figure out how many pieces of cheese this is when I cut it all in half, that should be good, huh? Well, step 1 is going to be, I'm going to give this person 1 piece and this person 1 piece. And then I'm going to put 1 over here and 1 here. So I can split this in half, 2 equal pieces, but then I have this piece left over. So here's what you do. You take that extra piece, cut it in half, and put 1 on each side. So now you can see that I have 2 equal parts of cheese. Like if I smushed all this together, they would be exactly the same. So this is half of 5, and this is half of 5. So what is the answer to what is half of 5? Well, I've got 1, 2, and a half. 2 and a half pieces of cheese is half of 5. Let's go back to our paper. All right. Well, sometimes when you're in school and you don't have squares of cheese laying around, this might be harder to do. But you know what? You can always draw a picture of cheese if you liked our little example. So if I have 5 pieces of cheese here that I'm drawing, here's how I can figure out what half of that is. I can put one over there, one over there. Deal them like cards. Excuse me. Right? We've all played card games where you pass out cards to people and you want to make sure everybody has the same number of cards so the game is fair. So we just deal them out, right? So now I've got 2 over here, 2 over here, and I've got this one left over. So, since I'm trying to make 2 piles, sorry kids, my spelling might not be that great. 2 piles, P-I-L-E-S. I've got this extra piece here, so I cut that into 2 equal pieces, because half means 2 equal pieces. And then I take each piece and deal them out. So we see I have 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2 and a half. Okay? And before we go on this episode of Cheesy Math, I have one other way you could do this. Let's get a fresh piece of paper here. Wait, let's use our cheese. Let's use the cheese. Now you might say, hey, Mr. Witcher, you're wasting perfectly good cheese. And I understand if you're worried about that. It's not okay to waste food. But here's the thing. This is old yucky cheese. And I was going to throw it in the garbage, but I decided it might be a good idea to use it to teach some math. So anyway, we have this cheese here. And look at this. If I take all of my cheese and cut it all in half, I'm cutting every piece of it in half. Now look what I can do. I can deal the cheese out like it's cards. 1 there, 1 there. Another one, another one. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. I have 2 equal stacks of cheese now. Each one of these stacks is half. Okay? So we go back to the paper. Don't eat old cheese, you might get sick. Okay, don't do it. But if I draw my cheese, 5 pieces of cheese. If you're still watching right now, you are awesome. Thank you. And we cut every piece in half. Then we can just go, right, because there's half and there's half. I could just put them into 2 equal piles. 2 equal piles, right? Because our problem is what is half of 5. And I could deal out each piece. 1 for you, 1 for you, 2 for you, 2 for you. And we keep dealing. until all the pieces are gone and we have the same number of pieces in both piles. Okay, there's 5 pieces on each side. Just like our cheese, right? We had 5 pieces on each side. Each piece is half of a piece. So if I put them back together, there's piece number 1, piece number 2. That's half, and that's half. So if I put them together, it makes one piece, right? And then I put 2 more pieces together, piece number 3 and piece number 4. And then I have this extra piece, 1 piece, 2 pieces, and a half of a piece. We can see the answer is 2 and 1/2. Hey, we have 2 different ways to do this problem. Yay! So, that's it. Let's finish this up. Cheesy math. There's 2 ways to find what is half of 5, or what is half of anything. And one way to do it, if you have some old cheese laying around, is start cutting the cheese. If you don't have cheese laying around, you can always draw pictures. There we go. I hope that was fun and that makes sense for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.